And welcome back to another episode of the Double Doink Podcast. My name is Brendan D. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We're talking strictly Philadelphia Eagles today. We are breaking down week one matchup against the New England Patriots. Thomas is going to give his Super Bowl predictions, his playoff predictions. We're going to give our Eagles final record prediction, what's going to happen in the Super Bowl. It's all coming down to today. Thomas Petersen is with me. Thomas, what's going on?
We have an actual game to break down. We have a game that means something.
We've been waiting for this all summer. Finally, we get to discuss an actual matchup and not like just what's going to happen with the Eagles and roster stuff. Of course, breaking down the depth chart is fun, but now we have a depth chart to work with, and now we have a team to break down.
Yeah, and the depth chart. Let's see, like who gets called up and stuff. We have like. What is it? Olamide Zacchaeus, a punt returner? I looked at that. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
The Eagles depth chart was not like a ton to go off of this offseason. Like we discussed, I think, last episode where when we're bickering about the punter situation, this team is a good roster. We're still going to bicker about the punter situation, Thomas. It looks like your boy Aaron Sipos is going to be punting for the Eagles week one.
Yeah, I think it's probably more so a familiarity thing with Jake Elliott of, the holder-kicker relation. I have to assume that's going to be what's keeping him around. It sure as hell he's punting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so why don't we start with kind of anything that's going around with the Eagles quickly before we move on, or before we talk about the actual game. So any depth chart takeaways, captains, any other news you want to touch on? So Devonta Smith was...
cool to see Smitty getting the captain nod. I think it was good to see you get both A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith as the getting that captain nod together for the first time in both their careers. Other than that, no real surprises in the captain nomination thing. Of course, Jalen Hurts once again. That's not a surprise at all. But yeah, cool for Smitty to kind of get that nod there. I mean, his role with the team is obviously getting bigger and bigger.
And I know we've discussed this before, and I know the captain really doesn't have because it doesn't add much juice to it. But I think there's a 100% chance that he's back signing a long-term contract next offseason.
Absolutely.
They still have 2 years of control with him after this year, but I assume they're going to pay him next summer.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Okay, I think that's it. Why don't we let's do it. Let's jump into the New England Patriots matchup. So New England Patriots are going to host the Philadelphia Eagles in week one for Tom Brady night. Tom Brady Day, I guess. They're doing a big ceremony for him.
Yeah.
Would have loved to see Nick Foles go out there and shake his hand. I think that would add some juice to it.
That would be comical.
But the spread is currently 3.5 right now at FanDuel. The total is, I believe, 45.5 as of right now, which is the lowest total out of any of the games. So Vegas is predicting basically like a low-scoring game. So if the total is 45,
low-scoring and close game. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's 45.5, the Vegas is thinking. Let me do a quick math here, like 24-21 game, something around those lines.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm. So let's start with the matchup. We're going to go Pats offense versus Eagles defense to start. Thomas, what are you looking for in this matchup?
Big news that Riley Reef is out for this game. They put him on. The Patriots put him on short-term IRs. He's going to miss 4 games. Currently, right now, Owlats have a guy called Calvin Anderson. Backing him up, and so Trent Brown, fine left tackle, but Calvin Anderson, I don't know who that guy is. Mike Wenu, their right guard.
He's their best offensive lineman.
Really?
And the center, and their center, I believe, too, is David Andrews, right? Is their center?
Yeah.
Am I right there? Yeah. Michael Wenu was a solid prospect. He played pretty well last year. When I was looking up the offensive line stats from the Patriots today, he's the one that kind of stood out to me with all the grades and stats and whatnot. But he's also injured. So one of my biggest takeaways from the Pats offense is they're really banged up on the offensive line. So they have 4 starters that are banged up. One of them is already confirmed to miss, like you said, with Riley Reef. Trent Brown was limited with an illness. Cole Strange was also limited with a knee injury, and Michael Wenu was limited with an ankle injury. So that's three starters or four starters injured, one already out, three banged up heading into this game.
Yeah, they're going to run the ball a ton. You'd have to imagine. Eagles defensive line, not fun to be missing offensive linemen against, especially this early on. Eagles have depth on their D line to a point where they can just rotate a full defensive line in, and you're going to get like a fresh group of guys ready to smack you around. So I think they're going to be keeping the defensive line on as honest as possible, not going to allow them to just go freely ahead on Mac Jones, and hope to keep things close and hope that Eagles don't pull ahead early and have to start throwing the football to keep up in the game. I think they're going to Bill Belichick, I think, is going to really be slow playing this thing.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to quick game the hell out of the Eagles. Like just short throws. They don't have really a deep threat. And the short throws will just kind of counter the Eagles pass rush. Just quickly back to the Patriots offensive line. Like I was looking up, like Trent Brown last year, he's a veteran offensive lineman, but he allowed 39 pressures and 8 sacks last year. Cole Strange allowed 23 pressures and 5 sacks. He was a disappointment first-round pick. And then Calvin Anderson, the guy that you brought up. So he played for the Broncos last season. He played in 9 games for them. He's going to get thrown into the starting role. He also wasn't good last season in limited duty. He allowed 2 sacks and 22 pressures in 9 games. So I think the Eagles' defensive line should be able to eat, and they should be able to get pressure kind of whenever they want in a deep passing game. If they try to push the ball down the field to these receivers, I think the Eagles' defensive line should be able to dominate and make Mac Jones uncomfortable, because if he needs to sit back there for 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds, the Eagles pass rush should get home.
Yeah, and another thing that kind of caught my eye about this matchup here is James Bradbury's revenge on Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown's, I know he's not going to be facing him, but I mean, sort of. But yeah, nothing about the Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne, Juju Smith-Schuster, and like none of those guys really scare you in any way.
Yeah, so the wide receivers, like if they're going to do quick game, they're going to need yards after catch to kind of help beat the Eagles, like missed tackles in the secondary, missed tackles from the linebackers. And the Patriots offense just doesn't really have that. Like Devontae Parker was dead last in separation last year out of all 122 qualifying receivers. He doesn't add yak ability. He only had 105 yards after catch last season. Same with Kendrick Bourne. He only had 144 yards after catch. Now, Juju Smith-Schuster is the guy that kind of provides that yard after catch ability. He had 454 yards after catch last season, but he also had Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football. Like it's a lot different when Mac Jones is your quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. And in 2021, Juju Smith-Schuster had 0.88 yards per route run, which was one of the worst stats in the league when he was in Pittsburgh with a mediocre quarterback. Who's a mediocre quarterback? Mac Jones. So I'm with you. These receivers don't scare me at all.
Not one bit.
Mm-hmm. The running game is where it's going to be key here. I think they're going to see a heavy dose of Ramondre Stevenson. He's probably their best player on offense in general out of all 11 starters. So I think they're going to want to get him the ball. Eagles finished 16th in rushing yards allowed per season, so they were about league average. We all know kind of before they signed Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph, it was a problem. So I'm really kind of focused on the run defense here and see what Sean Desai can bring if he can put his defensive line and linebackers in good spots to stop the run.
And you're getting Zeke.
Zeke Elliott returning. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I forgot about that when we were doing the preview. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. The Patriots play a lot of 11 personnel, so you're going to see a ton of 3 wide receiver sets. They finished 78.7% of their offensive snaps came from 11 personnel last season, which is the 3rd highest rate in the league. So the way you would kind of beat the Eagles defense is kind of get them in base, in my opinion. And I don't see that happening. They don't have like Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki are not going to run 12 personnel both on the line here. Mike Gesicki could be kind of your 3rd wide receiver and slot him out to the outside. But I don't know. The Patriots offense is the definition of the 20th ranked offense. Like they're going to be mediocre this season. So I don't see the Eagles defense having a lot of trouble, but this is also Sean Desai's first game, right? We'll see how the communication goes. Nakobe Dean's first game with the green dot. Really excited to see Nakobe Dean in this game. It's going to be a heavy Nakobe Dean game with the quick throws and the RPOs. They're going to RPO the crap out of the Eagles and try to make that work.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I think they're going to go a lot more 12 personnel than 11 of what they've done before. I think they want both Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry on the field in the same time here in this game. Mm-hmm. You get some bigger guys in there who can block. You get some easier targets over the middle for Mac.
Mm-hmm. And new offensive coordinator too, so kind of the stats from last year's Patriots offense doesn't really match. Like, we don't know what Bill O'Brien's going to do. He loved the RPO game in Houston when he was running with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was so good at it, though. So we'll see if Mac Jones can kind of be that guy for him. And I don't even know if he's going to run the same offense he did last time he was in the NFL, right? He's been in college last couple of years, so who knows what his philosophies are going to be now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Okay, anything else? Pats, Eagles, D?
Nah.
that's probably the least juicy matchup. The biggest one's Eagles offense versus Patriots defense. It's kind of two juggernauts hitting each other here. So the Patriots defense, Thomas, was pretty good last season. They're third in EPA per play allowed. However, from weeks 12 to 8, they finished 18th in EPA per play. So they were kind of a mediocre defense down the stretch of last season, and they're basically running it back. So they have 9 starters returning from last year. But the big one is Devin McCourty. He retired. He had the most coverage snaps out of any Patriots player last season. What are you looking for in this matchup?
Yes, they still have some really good guys on the team. Sure. The two Joneses on the quarterback spot. Kyle Duggar. Overall, I think safety is one of the positions where the Patriots clear the Eagles pretty handily. Kyle Duggar and Adrian Phillips, I think, are like the true experienced guys. They're playmakers. They can make stuff happen. Overall, they have a really good defense. I mean, they have some guys, and Matthew Judon always going to be a game changer. Deatrich Wise is a guy I always like to watch as well. Mm-hmm. Christian Gonzalez, a little bit of a rough preseason. I think he's going to be he's in for a really, really tough first NFL game here.
Hell yeah.
And definitely a guy that I'd imagine the Eagles want to be targeting early and often. I don't think he has the size to be able to run with to be able to compete with AJ Brown. I don't think he has the athleticism to stay with and or the technique to be able to stay with Devontae Smith. And I don't think he has the physicality to really beat them in the screen game if Olamide Zaccheaus gets involved in that. So I think that's a big mismatch. But really, overall, I think the Eagles offense should be able to do pretty much what they want in this game. I mean, there's no aspect of the Patriots defense where I say, oh, you got to stay away from this element. They have some good players, but they don't have players that should alter the approach.
Mm-hmm. Fran Duffy, who writes and does content for the Eagles, he's awesome. He had a nice tweet earlier today. The Patriots led the league in sacks on stunts last season. So they're really good at kind of confusing the offensive line, getting guys in motion, wrapping around, just trying to cause chaos at the line of scrimmage. And we got a new starting guard, right? Cam Jurgens is going to be his first game as a starter. I'm not worried about Cam Jurgens in a macro perspective, but week 1, having to counter a lot of stunts, counter a lot of these moving parts on the Patriots defense, I think could be tough for the Eagles out the gate. You have to work in unison, right? You have to work in 5 offensive line. You have to work together, and it's not easy to play a Bill Belichick defense with a new starting offensive lineman. Again, Jurgens has been in the building from last year, so it's not like he's freshly new to this team. But I think that's where I'm kind of the most worried, is seeing how the offensive line clicks together. But Thomas, like we know, the offensive line is an unknown. I'm glad you got that joke.
Ridiculous.
I think we'll cut it there. We don't need to go in depth about how that ridiculous take I saw on my timeline.
Some things you just see on Twitter, and you really want to go don't give the attention. Don't give the attention. Don't give the attention.
Yeah. You had to, I almost went at it. I had to hold my tongue there. Okay. What else we got? So I think they're going to try to, like I said, I think they're going to try to confuse the Eagles offense and just put a bunch of guys in lanes. Like, Belichick's really good at kind of mixing his coverages in, rotating guys after the snap. They did a lot of too high shells at the beginning of plays this year, last year, sorry, but then they rotate down. So I think there's going to be some single high opportunities. And like you said with the cornerbacks, like I really do think they should take their shots one-on-ones here. Devonta Smith is going to be on an island. Like they're not going to be able to bracket coverage Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. It's going to be a problem for defenses all season playing the Eagles. I think they're going to want to take away the big playability of AJ Brown. That's probably, if you're Bill Belichick right now in a defensive meeting room, you're saying AJ Brown's the guy we have to stop out of anyone, right? Like, and then you got Devonta Smith right there. I think you're going to see a lot of one-on-ones with Smith against a rookie corner, like you said, in Christian Gonzalez. So I think there's going to be opportunities there.
Yeah, I think they're going to come out here early and really like throw the ball around, take some deep shots, try to get up pretty early on the Patriots to really, like we talked about, to help out the defense. Just to make sure that they put up a bunch of points early and often. If the defense can get a couple stops, you're up early, and then that's going to have to force the Patriots to start throwing the ball a little bit more and get out of the comfort zone with the running game. And they have the guys to do so. I think it's going to be a big AJ Brown game, like you said. That connection has just been fire all preseason and training camp. So, yeah, there's no reason not to just keep forging off of that.
Did you see that video of him handing the ball to his daughter that the Eagles posted?
Yeah,
the ball looks so small in AJ Brown's hands. It's insane. Like
it looks so big in that little girl's hand.
Yeah, like it's like he's gripping like a foam football. Like his, I can't wait to watch year 2 of this. AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. Like, yeah, and they've been so good in preseason. It's gonna be interesting to see like the run pass splits here. We got a new offensive coordinator and Brian Johnson's first game calling the plays. I also do think there's going to be maybe a point in the game where you'll see some communication issues between Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts. Like it's tough to bring in a new coordinator and kind of everything flow like it did last year. Like I'm not worried about the play calling like itself. I'm worried more about like the process of it, getting the plays in right and that kind of stuff. Like there's probably going to be a time where you're going to see Jalen Hurts going like, let's go, get your shit together, that kind of thing. And that's hope. I hope that kind of that all pans out early and then they can kind of get past that.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Anything else on this matchup? I think they're going to, like I said, I think they're going to take some one-on-one shots downfield. Let's talk about the Eagles' run game here. Who do you think? I know this has been a question that we've been tossing out basically all offseason. Who do you think leads the team in rushing after this game? Not Jalen Hurts.
Swift.
Like DeAndre Swift? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think he's the first running back on the first drive?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I may be an idiot, and it's Boston Scott. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
just to fuck with all the conversation all offseason, just throw Boston Scott out there and just put a wrench in every single Eagles analyst's heads. The New England Patriots also weren't good against mobile quarterbacks last season. We saw last year Justin Fields had an absolute day on, I think it was a Thursday night game against New England. Justin Fields ran for over 100 yards. This has been a problem with the Patriots defense under Bill Belichick, is kind of stopping scrambling quarterbacks. So I know we don't want to see Jalen Hurts run a ton this year, and we want to see him kind of stay healthy and whatnot. But I do think the Eagles are going to try to utilize that and rush Jalen Hurts quite a bit in this game.
Yeah, I don't think so. I disagree with that. I don't think Hurts is going to be running nearly as much. I think the more comfortable he gets throwing the football, and if my theory is right about this game, they're going to come out throwing early. I think that's where DeAndre Swift is going to be the first running back on the field. I think they're going to be putting a lot more like Scott or Swift would probably be my 1-2 punch to begin with, simply because of their ability in the passing game to start off the game. And I think Gainwell and Penny are going to be featured in the second half. Granted, the Eagles have a lead and are trying to just grind out the clock from there. I think we're going to see a lot more of Penny and Gainwell. So they have kind of a 2-by-2 running back rotation of what they want to do at a certain portion of the game. And sense. I think Hurts is so much more comfortable with the weapons he has around him, and I think that's gonna make him get into a more of a natural flow as a passer and not really key too much in on running. Sure, is he gonna run? Sure, is he gonna score a bunch of touchdowns running? Probably, but I don't think it's gonna be as big of a point this season. Unless I think it kind of downfalls early and he feels like he has to get something going.
I think they're going to try just like a couple of design quarterback runs to get them off, get early, just to kind of throw the Patriots off. But yeah, in general in the season, I don't think you're going to see the rushing numbers like you did from last year in Jalen Hurts. What else? What else on this matchup? I think that's it. I think that's all I got. You got anything else? Yeah, we can jump to predictions here quickly. Right. Just Rashad, do you have any idea what Rashad Penny's stats are going to look like? I am having a really hard time figuring out what this game's going to do with Rashad Penny in general. This game, he, in my opinion, Thomas, he could run for 1,200 yards or he could run for 10 and be healthy. I don't know what his season's going to look like. He is the hardest guy to kind of dictate what the Eagles are going to do with the season.
Yeah, I think he's going to be looking at 6 carries a game, 45 yards, so something in the area of 550 on the season, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, he's an interesting one because he's like a downhill bruiser, but the Eagles don't run a ton of stuff under center where he can do the shotgun runs he was good at in Seattle, but a lot was under center. So his role is going to be really interesting to see. Prediction time. Okay, so we discussed at the top of the show 3.5 point favorites. The Eagles are over the Patriots on the road, 45.5 total. So I do think it's going to be a tough game. I don't think they're going to destroy the Patriots, but I do think this is going to be a game where you're going to see it maybe a 3-point lead by the Eagles going into the fourth quarter, or maybe midway through the third quarter, and then the Eagles kind of just take off from there. I do think the 3.5 point spread is too small. I don't really understand. I'm doing a gambling show later today. On my podcast, and I was kind of looking at this game going, am I missing something here? Why is the spread only 3.5? But I do think it's going to be I'll go with a 30-21 game. I think they can win by a little more than a touchdown, but they're going to cause problems. This is a Bill Belichick run team. This is going to be, they're going to be on their toes. They're going to kind of confuse the Eagles. I think the offense might sputter at the beginning of the game, but towards the second half, I think the Eagles are just the better team. They got more talent. I don't see why they can win by more than 3.5 points and maybe more than a touchdown. So I'll go 30-21 Eagles.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those games where the continuity of the Patriots and the coaching staff continuity might play a favor to them. You said yourself, the Eagles have a couple new coordinators that are going to find their groove in the game as well. I think the Eagles are overall better on every position. I think it's going to be pretty handily victory. I think it's going to be a little bit back and forth, and then Eagles going to be taking off. So I have 34-20.
Okay, so we're both going over. We're both going Eagles. Yep. So there's a ton of juice on the under right now. So if you do think it's going over, I like that bet a lot because 45.5 is low, especially for how much points the Eagles put up last year.
Yeah, I don't quite get that line.
Mm-hmm. The Double Doink Podcast is officially sponsored by Manscaped. Fresh Ball Fall is upon us, and you need to be in the festive spirit. Light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, and make sure your balls look nice with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. Nature may clear the leaves off the trees, but you'll need Manscaped's help to get you ready for the sweater weather. Get your pants puppies prepared for cuffing season with trim as refreshing as a ball breeze by going to manscaped.com and using code DOINK for 20% off everything plus free shipping. It's time for nice flannels and cozy socks, but we can't forget to trim our balls. By now, you've heard of them, but it's time to join the 9 million men worldwide who use Manscaped and get the kit that covers it all, the Performance Package 4.0. It starts with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology that reduces nicks and cuts to make the raking the leaves a lot less painful. Once you've cleared the driveway, the Performance Package comes in hot with products to cool you down. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, one to prevent stink and one to clear it up. With a soothing aloe vera formula, move over pumpkin spice, fresh balls are the smell of the season. The Performance Package 4.0 caps it off with 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. That's one to hold your Manscaped goodies and one to hold your man goodies. Bring in the fall right and get 20% off and free shipping with code DOINK at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code DOINK. As the leaves fall, make sure you have it all with Manscaped. If you're like me, you are tired of trying to find jeans that fit right no matter your build and still look good. Introducing the newest sponsor of the Double Doink Podcast, Sweat Tailor, a premium menswear brand that is defining a new kind of casual. I started wearing Sweat Tailor and I am blown away by how comfortable and affordable the clothes are. And of course, they look great. My favorite is the all-in pants. It's a 5-pocket pant that feels like sweats but look way better. Thoughtfully tailored and unbelievably stretchy. From jackets and pants to joggers and hoodies, Sweat Tailor's designs are made to seamlessly fit into your life, moving from runway to office, office to drinks, and drinks to wherever the night takes you. Specializing in casual wear for men, pieces are designed with comfort and versatility in mind for your everyday. Use promo code BDEEGST. That is BDEEGST for 25% off. That again is BDEEGST for 25% off your order at sweattailor.com.
The Double Doink podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is hard. It's especially hard when you don't have someone you can open up to. Not everyone is comfortable talking to their friends and family about their personal matters or anything that is bothering them on a day-to-day basis. Mental health is so important to continued success in this world. Therapy is a great way to regroup and get everything off your chest. Insert BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy service, 100% online. They will match you with professional licensed therapists you can trust. You can talk with your therapist however you see fit, via text, phone call, or video chat. BetterHelp has successfully helped over 4 million people worldwide deal with their day-to-day mental health issues. Use the link in the podcast description to get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.
Okay, let's dive into your predictions, Thomas. So I gave my regular season predictions on a podcast yesterday. So if you want to go tune out, think what I think is going to happen this season, you can go check it out there. But since I got Thomas on the show, and I want to get some kind of generic NFL takes from Thomas because we haven't really talked. We don't talk a lot about other teams. So this is kind of Thomas's time to shine and get the generic other 31 teams out there. So Thomas, give me your
all the 31 teams I know nothing about.
So Thomas, give me your NFC playoff teams 1 to 7.
Okay, so my NFC teams, I just have the ones winning their divisions, and I have 3 wild cards.
Okay.
I have Eagles as division winners. Shocker. I have the Lions taking that division.
Okay.
Really like what they have going on there. Like a bunch of weapons there as well. Speaking of the Lions, slam every over on Jahmyr Gibbs you can tonight. His Lions are absurdly low. He's around 43, the line in rushing and receiving.
Combined.
No. Combined, it's at 72. So
okay.
It's 42 receiving. I think it's 43 rushing. And then the combined is 72.5, I think. Then I have the Falcons. I really like the Falcons this year. I think they have an offense where Desmond Ridder doesn't really have to be that good for that to work. And I think it's going to be a big prove-it year for Arthur Smith, where he has now 3, like Algier, Patterson, and Bijan. If he can't make that work, those 3 guys that are basically weapons. Like I know they put Cordell Patterson in as the Joker title. Bijan Robinson, you could do the same. He could be a receiver. He could be a running back. Doesn't matter. And then Tyler Algier was the leading rusher among rookies.
He had over 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, it's absurd. I mean, and they have a really good offensive line.
Yep.
So like Desmond Ridder doesn't have to be top tier. He doesn't have to be a top 10 quarterback. They could still win their division pretty handily, I'd say. I mean, Saints would be their one opponent really to watch, but then again, Saints are always an injury wreck. You're always going to get like a bunch of injuries going down there. I don't believe in Carr that much that I'll pick them over him. So yeah, got the Falcons there. 49ers, because why not? I don't think they're as good as last year. I think they might be one of those teams that could take a real big downfall this season as kind of a surprise team. They're getting a lot of praise just because it's Shanahan and tradition and whatnot. Wildcard teams, I have Seahawks. That's the one. Always like their group is always good if they can stay healthy in the running back room. I think that will go a long way in terms of helping Geno. DK.
I'm heavy on the Seahawks this year. I think they're getting the number 2 seed. I predicted them to get the number 2 seed behind the Eagles. Ooh, I think they're a complete team. Like if you look up and down the roster, they're deep at a lot of positions, especially in the secondary. Jackson Smith-Njigba and Zach Charbonnet are like perfect additions to that offense.
Yeah,
I'm
wouldn't be surprised either. If the 49ers take a little bit of a downfall there, they might be taken over. I have the Packers, a sort of a surprise wildcard team. I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback. I think he's gonna be doing just enough. I think Vikings are going to be taking a big fall in that division, and Packers take that spot away from them. And then I was going a little back and forth on whether I thought the Cowboys or the Giants would take that last wild card spot, and I ended up giving it to the Cowboys. Just think they have more players. I think Dak Prescott is not going to be as bad as what appears among the consensus that he could be this year.
Like a lot of his interceptions last year were tip balls. Like I don't think he's going to throw as many picks last year.
No, I don't think he's going to throw as many picks here. I think he's being downplayed. He's trending towards the underrated department right now, and he might just come out and show people why he's still the quarterback there, or it may go all the way sideways, and we'll see Trey Lance. Who knows? So yeah, that's my NFC
nice.
My NFC room there. And I have
AFC baby. Let's go to the other conference. What you got?
All right, I got Bills. In what was a difficult decision in that division. Also have one team there making the wild card. Get to that. Have Bengals from the north there. Also, I think that's a really that's a tricky division. I mean, there could be
4 teams. Like you could have 4 teams. Like I know it never happens. Like I really wanted to put the Steelers in the playoffs when I was doing it because I think they're going to win. They're going to go 9-8, or 9-8, 10-7. They always do with Mike Tomlin.
I just thought, where's the biggest variance of it? I think Steelers can go both ways. They look good in the preseason. If Pickett is better, but in this division he has to be drastically better, and George Pickens has to be a number 1 wide receiver for this thing really to keep rolling here. And also think it's. Like if some of that doesn't pan out, their floor is also pretty low. So that's why I don't have them in any sort of capacity in wild card or division winners. Then I had the Titans over the Jaguars. A little pushback on the Jaguars. I don't think they were that impressive last year. I think the Trevor Lawrence hype has gone a little bit too far. But yeah, I think Titans were an absolute, complete, and utter disaster last year when they faced the Jaguars, and they only just were able to get by them.
They finished 7. They started 7-3 last year. Like let's remember when they remember that Eagles-Titans game was a week 9 when the Eagles just destroyed them over the air. Like the Titans were a legit squad before that game.
Yeah,
I'm not there with you to win the division, but I also think the Titans are kind of in that underrated category right now. Mike Vrabel's the top 5-7 head coach, in my opinion. He's always got this team ready. They were just devastated by injuries last year. Like this, Tannehill's playing for another contract this year as well. Like he's gotta ball out if he wants to continue having a starting role in the league. So I don't mind that at all. But I don't know if I'm their division winner, but
I also think that DeAndre Hopkins is better than any other wide receiver in that division, and I think Derrick Henry is better running back than any other running back in that division. So,
that's a good call, yeah.
And I think Trevor Lawrence and Ryan Tannehill, the margin between those two isn't that big, in my opinion.
I like it. I like the Trevor Lawrence slander. Trevor Lawrence slander already because I also think he's getting.
I don't know if I call it slander. I'm not
pushing it down.
We shouldn't put him in. I don't really want to put him in the top 10 category yet. I mean, I want to see more from him. It was just a small glimpse, and Urban Meyer was a disaster, but people are so quick to say, I mean, that Urban Meyer was the complete reason for the entirety of that train wreck. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was still on the field and played football. And it was bad. And he wasn't all sunshine and rainbows throughout the entirety of last season.
He had a really good second half, but they struggled at the gate.
Yeah, and the game against the Chargers, they got down 27-0. It was the reason they didn't score. They didn't score any points until that point. I mean,
he threw 4 interceptions in the first half, right? So,
yeah.
Okay.
So then I have Chiefs surprise. They have Patrick Mahomes. So what are you gonna do? Wildcard teams. Jets. I have them handily getting a wildcard spot. I think the hype is real. Building around them, they have a really good squad, and I think the most underrated part of the Jets is their defensive line. They're going to be right next to the Eagles in terms of production on D-line.
Yeah. I was looking at Quentin Williams for Defensive Player of the Year this year because I think he's going to be awesome. Like he's only 25, 26, but it's hard for defensive tackles to win it. He did have 12 sacks last year, but like you need to get like that 15, 16 mark to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year at defensive tackle. I could see it, but like I think it's a little too much. But I think Quentin Williams is going to be an absolute monster this year. The Jets defense could be the best defense in the NFL this year.
Yeah, agreed. Then I have Ravens making the playoffs. I think it's going to be a big bounce back year for Lamar Jackson. I like what they've done with their wide receiver room. I think Say Flowers I don't think he's going to be as statistical of a monster, but I think he's going to be a real asset to that offense. Really like what they've done there. They're always good on defense. I think they're going to pull ahead simply because of the quarterback. I think the two better quarterbacks in that division are going to carry those two teams to a playoff. And then I have the Chargers as the last team, and I kind of struggled with the last team. I think the last wildcard spot in the AFC was so much more difficult than for the NFC.
There's so many good teams in the AFC. I put the Browns as my last wildcard spot because I also think the Browns are a complete team, but the Deshaun Watson thing is it's finicky, yeah. But the Browns upgrade a lot on defense. I like their depth chart. So I squeezed them in there, but I had a tough time getting. I got the Chargers in there too, but it was there's so many good teams you could put in those 6-7 wildcard spots. So anything is right in my opinion in 6-7 wildcard spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are Thomas' playoff teams. Let's get to your Super Bowl predictions. Give me your AFC winner.
My AFC winner is going to be the Bengals.
Okay.
Also, because I sneaky root for the Bengals. I have a bunch of friends who are Bengals fans, and they always wanted to go to Cincinnati in case they won. So I'm hoping for that. And I think I think it's fair to say this is going to be the last, at least one of the last seasons where we're going to have the whole quadruplet. I think we could say of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Burrow. They're not going to be able to keep Tyler Boyd. Hopefully, they're going to be able to keep both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the team. But I think Tyler is going to be gone after the season. Same with Joe Mixon, probably also going to be gone after that. So, yeah, this is. I think this is a big year for them, and they have to get over that hump. There's always that big rivalry between the Bengals and the Chiefs. I think it's going to go back and forth. And this year, I just think that the Bengals are going to get the better of it.
Mm-hmm. The Bengals, so that trio you brought up, so I'm going to disclude Tyler Boyd from it, but T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, they're combined $24 million at the cap right now.
Yeah,
that's gonna you're looking at over $100 million by next year, right? Joe Burrow's going to get probably $55 million, maybe more than that. T. Higgins is due for a new contract, and Jamar Chase is due for a new contract. So that trio is about to get a lot more expensive. So if there's a year to do it, it's right now for Cincy.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty comparable to the Eagles situation with their trio of Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. But Eagles were kind of early in that process, so they're going to get a discount just based on the timing of these contracts being handed out.
Yeah, and I think the Eagles did a better job of infusing the team with younger cheap talent on the defensive side of the ball. The Bengals, Dax Hill right now is going to be, he didn't play at all last year. He's the starting safety. The Bengals safety room, everyone talks about the Eagles safety room is bad. The Bengals are right there. I think it's smart to build your team.
It's unproven, at least.
Yeah, having your safety room as your worst position is probably a good way to build a football team because you can get by with mediocre safeties and still win a Super Bowl. But the Bengals are a hot pick right now.
I wouldn't be able to tell you one single cornerback who plays for the Bengals right now.
Damn!
I'm trying to figure out one.
It's already forgotten.
Chidobe?
Chidobe Awuzie is back healthy this year.
No idea.
There's a hyphenated name that's bugging me right now that I remembered. I did my Bengals. We did our AFC North at the beginning.
I'm putting you on the spot. I have no idea what those guys are.
It's Cam Taylor-Britt. That's the guy I was thinking of with the hyphenated name. He's also a young guy. And then Chidobe Awuzie starting on the other side. But their safety room, Nick Scott, came from LA. He was bad last year with the Rams. He's a starting safety, and Dax Hill is another starting safety. But that's probably their weakest part of the team. But their offense, I think this is going to be a top 2, top 3 offense. The Bengals are going to be carving up teams, in my opinion, this year. So yeah, I like that pick a lot. All right, I'm guessing. Well, let's not guess. I'm assuming you have the Eagles as your NFC champion.
Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah,
just on paper before a game is played. It's just not close. There's just not a roster where you go, they're better here, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Injuries are going to hit. Games are going to be played. Form is going to be made. We'll see what it all looks like. But right now on paper, it's I couldn't. I tried to not be a homer, but
I'm with you. I really looked at every team in the NFC. I tried to Like I really did try to not pick them to win to make the Super Bowl this season, and I can't find another avenue. I think the Dallas Cowboys are their biggest threat. I'm really high on Dallas this year. I think the Eagles and Dallas probably finish like I had the Eagles going 13-4. I was gonna do 12-5. I was close to it. But I was looking at the schedule. I'm going, I think they get a couple losses and that end of the year kind of stretch where they're playing the 49ers, Bills, Chiefs. Like I think they can go like 3-2 in that stretch. And I guess I could see 2 other losses, but like the schedule, everyone's saying how hard the schedule is. It's really not besides that one stretch of games. Like the Eagles have a really easy schedule to start. I know there's a couple hard defenses in there like Tampa and New England, but I think they can still out-talent them. I see the Eagles rolling again as long as everything stays healthy. Here's a question for you. If, let's say, injuries did happen, where do you think the Eagles should add on to at the deadline? Because I think Howie's going to be active at the deadline. He's going to want to push for it. Do you see like a Mike Evans being a potential if Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown go down? Like, where do you see them adding to on this roster?
Offensive line, but I don't think they're going to do it because offensive line is so tricky to find quality when the season starts.
It's hard to trade. Teams are not in the business to trade away offensive linemen.
No. Mm-hmm. It's always, I mean, when the season starts, the most difficult position to upgrade on are quarterback, it's cornerback, it's offensive line, and it's D-line. Those are the trickiest positions to upgrade at. You can always find a corner, you can always find a safety, you can always find a running back and a wide receiver. All that is all available. But the positions where the Eagles are vulnerable will be at quarterback and offensive line. Mm-hmm. They're so deep at defensive line that they would have to be really unlucky to get thin at that position because they simply have so many guys and have so many versatile guys who can play both inside and out. So
yeah, the Eagles last year, the Derek Barnett injury probably catapulted the Robert Quinn trade, right? Like if Derek Barnett was healthy last season, I don't assume they trade for Robert Quinn. No. So that's a big reason why Derek Barnett's going to be on the roster this year. They paid him and restructured his deal to keep him for 2 more years is because they don't want to trade a 3rd round pick for a Robert Quinn or 4th round pick, whatever it was. So that's a position Howie always loves. But like you said, they're very deep. I could see like if A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, knock on wood, won't like if this happens, it would be devastating. I could see them maybe trying to add a wide receiver if one of them getting injured, but there's not a lot of holes on this roster to add guys. So it's I do think he's going to do something at the deadline, how he always does. But
yeah.
Okay, so what's your record prediction for the Eagles this year?
I think 12-5, 13-4 is pretty spot on. But then again, let's say that even like 11-6 would still be much more impressive than what they did last year, just simply based off the strength of schedule and the teams they're going to be playing this year. So even though they let's say they made it 11-6, I think that's really impressive. Just simply taking everything into context. But I think they're going to be better than that.
Yeah, like even if the record doesn't show 14-3, they could still be a better team this year than they were last year. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, the big question: Bengals versus Eagles in the Super Bowl. Give me a score prediction and give me who wins the game.
Where's the Super Bowl being played?
It was in Arizona last year, right? It's in Vegas this year. It's in Vegas.
Vegas. All right.
Joe Burrow's going to be hitting the slot machines, throwing some money on blackjack. He's going to be distracted.
He's going to be drunk out of his mind. He's not going to be able to see who he's throwing to.
Yeah, he's
Jalen Carter's going to get 3 sacks.
He's going to go put up the going to be walks in on red. And
Eagles go back and they finish the job they started last time.
All right, give it to me. Feed me.
All right, 31-30 Eagles on a Jake Elliott game winner.
Hell yeah, baby. That's what I predicted. Eagles versus Chiefs 31-28. I think it's going to be a Super Bowl rematch. And I predicted Elliott. I predicted a 50-plus yard Jake Elliott game-winning field goal to win 31-28. I don't even know, as an Eagles fan, what I would do in that situation. Like, do I run through a wall? Do I go run out on the streets screaming? I don't even know how I would handle that, but that's a conversation for a different day.
I just feel I'm already sick and tired of the Chiefs. Like, I already think it's boring. I want someone else in the AFC to. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I get quickly bored of the same teams being good.
I agree. It is boring, but unfortunately, they're so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on this before we go. I really do think this is going to be a Jalen Hurts year. And I mean that like I think he's like undoubtedly a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. I know there's rankings. Did you see Steven Ruiz's rankings from the Ringer? We had him as 10th ranked at a quarterback. Like there's a lot of people already poo-pooing the idea of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but Twitter's also giving out money for interactions. Just
That's fair. That's fair. But I really do think like after this season, Jalen Hurts is going to be the number 2 quarterback in the NFL, and everyone's going to agree with that. Like I was taking a look at some of his stats from the last 2 seasons. So in 2021, Jalen Hurts was 16th in EPA per play, 18th in success rate, 25th in completion percentage. He was a average to below average quarterback in 2021. 2022, 5th in EPA per play, 13th in success rate, 6th in completion percentage. That's a 19 quarterback jump in 1 year on accuracy, which is unheard of. It doesn't happen in the NFL. I know they got better receivers, but they only added A.J. Brown. Like Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith were still on the team in 2021. So I know the A.J. Brown doesn't make all those stats jump up. Like this was Jalen Hurts getting better. And I think he could be 2nd in EPA per play. Like
and it's carried over to the training camp as well. I mean, he's been more accurate than ever. He's had one of the best training camps of any Eagles quarterback ever.
Yep. Like I think we're going to be looking at like the analytic stats where Jalen Hurts are going 3rd in EPA per play, 2nd in success rate, 3rd in completion percentage. Like I really do think Jalen Hurts is going to have a miraculous season. I'm so bullish on this kid heading into this year, Thomas. Like I think he's going to ball out. Like he's going to be the 2nd best quarterback in the NFL undoubtedly by the end of this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's better. He's going to be better than Patrick Mahomes.
I'm not going to go there. I won't go there. But
when all is said and done, I mean, I just think he's going to be more consistent. I mean, Patrick Mahomes lives off of off-script plays where he does something crazy stupid and it works somehow. Jalen Hurts isn't like that. I mean, he is systematic. He's consistent. He knows exactly what to do. And I think there's a level of professionalism between these two and just the way they go about things from a player perspective, I think is a lot more sustainable for Jalen Hurts than it is with Patrick Mahomes. And they're both great quarterbacks, and Patrick is like he's way ahead of Jalen Hurts. He's miles ahead of him right now. But if we're projecting into what they're going to be as quarterbacks, the jump that you mentioned, the jump that Jalen Hurts has made, and looking at him, how like what type of player he is, what kind of person he is, and the way he learns, and the way he is always like obsessed with the I don't want to say the process because it's going to sound like the Sixers, but the way he's dedicated to the craft is unique to a point where not even Patrick Mahomes is going to match that. And if Patrick Mahomes' luck or that crazy play thing, if he's going to start to have plays not go his way, I just don't see that happening with Jalen Hurts. I don't see it because the way he wins is so systematic.
Mm-hmm. And I think like I know we talk about the leadership qualities and like I know like that stuff can get overblown a lot, but when it comes to Jalen Hurts himself, it's not. Like he's a legit robot. Like he speaks in motivational quotes. Like the team has followed his leadership. Like the team kind of gives the Jalen Hurts brand more than the Nick Sirianni brand. Like he is the leader of this roster when usually it's the head coach. So I think that stuff comes into account when you're talking about Jalen Hurts.
All right, so you want my three predictions?
Give it to me.
All right. You told me to come up with 3 bold predictions. I don't know how bold these are, but my first one is in that same age. Jalen Hurts is he's going to have 4,000 passing and 1,000 rushing yards as the first quarterback in NFL history.
Have you looked at Jalen Hurts' total stats on FanDuel and betting companies? They are like I was looking at some of these numbers going, like, what am I missing here? Jalen Hurts is like his totals at like 3,600 passing yards, which is insane to me. The Eagles are going to be throwing the ball a ton more this year in fourth quarter because last year Jalen Hurts ranked 23rd in 28th in fourth quarter passing yards last year because they didn't throw the ball in the fourth quarter because they were just destroying teams. That's not. Exactly. I don't think it's going to be like that this year. So I'm with you. I think he goes over 4,000 plus easily.
Yeah, I was about to say that the only thing about that prediction that has me worried is the 1,000 rushing yards because, like I said, I think he's going to be throwing a lot more than he's going to be rushing, and I don't think it's going to be necessary for him to run for 1,000 yards. I think it's more likely, actually, if I have to choose one, that he's going to be able to throw for 5,000 more than he is going to be able to run for 1,000. But yeah, we'll see about that. Next one, I have the entire Eagles offensive line will each one singly be either Pro Bowls or Pro Bowl alternates.
That would make me a happy man.
That was the case last year.
It was.
Did you
really?
know? Did you know
I
that?
did not know this. No.
Both Jordan Mailata and Isaac Somalo were Pro Bowl alternates. Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, and Lane Johnson were all Pro Bowlers. So I'm kind of predicting that to happen again.
Yeah. That's not cool.
But with Cam Jerkins as the replacement in there.
It is a bold take, but like it's happened before. And strictly
it also demands everybody is healthy. So
exactly, yeah. All right, hit me with the last one.
Last one is Nakobe Dean will be among the top 5 linebackers in sacks and interceptions.
Hell yeah.
And I'm a little bit worried about the interception part, but the sack part, I'm not. I think Sean Desai is going to unleash this man, and he's going to be blitzing a ton.
I agree. I think you're going to see a lot more downhill action.
He's so good at it. He's really good at it.
And I think you're going to see a lot more downhill action from the secondary and the linebackers. Avonte Maddox is a guy I really want to see them going downhill and blitzing. He was so good at it in college. Since he's been to Philly, he haven't done it a ton. I would love to see Maddox on blitzes, Dean on blitzes. I think Cunningham can kind of be the lane clogger in the middle. Like, he can get his long arms in there. Like, he's already deflected a couple passes in training camp. We saw Reed Blankenship intercept a couple from Zach Cunningham tipping the ball. But yeah, I like that a lot. My bold, I'll give you one. My big bold prediction is I think Devontae Smith gets an Offensive Player of the Year vote this year.
Ooh. Okay.
I am so high on Devontae Smith this season. I think I'm not like pinning them to it. I don't want to pin AJ Brown and Devontae Smith against each other like that article we all saw where Eagles fans are apparently pinning them against each other. That's not where I'm going with this. But I do think Devontae Smith is going to lead the team in receiving yards, lead the team in receiving touchdowns, lead the team in receptions. I am all on board for a Devontae Smith breakout season. I think he's going to have an absolute crazy year.
I'm just looking for looking at the lines here for the Eagles against the Patriots, and Bet365 have Devontae Smith at 62.5 yards and AJ Brown at 68.5 yards. They're both going over.
Yeah, I like the over in both. Last time we saw them play against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, they both almost had. I think Devontae Smith had 98 yards, AJ Brown had over 100, one of the two, but they both eclipsed that number by a mile. Last time we saw them.
Yeah, you get Smitty over 62.5, AJ over 68.5 will give you a plus 300.
Ooh, all right, I like that, Thomas. It was nice to hear you talk about other NFL teams. We should do it more often on the show.
No,
I'm serious. Like we
should.
We only talk Eagles here. I like hearing your other takes around the league. It's cool.
Yeah, they're not as thought.
No, you had some great insight. Okay, we give so Thomas and I both of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl on a game-winning field goal.
We don't even have to watch the season. We already know what's going to happen.
We already got the script. If that happens, just anoint us into the podcasting Hall of Fame at this point. But anything else? Any other takes? This is your last chance. You want to get off your chest.
I have a question for you. If you had to choose one NFC and one AFC team that you would be rooting for, not the Eagles, like a team that you're kind of secretly rooting a little bit for when you're watching them, who would it be?
AFC is easy for me. It's the Buffalo Bills. They're kind of like my hometown team. They're an hour and a half away from me. Most like Bills fans are low. Like there's so many Bills fans in Toronto. Like a lot of my friends are Bills fans. My mom's a big Bills fan. She's got like Bills jerseys. It's they're like a hometown team.
Makes sense.
And they're like, I wouldn't say my second favorite team. I hate that kind of, you only get one favorite team. Everyone only gets one. But if the Eagles are out of things, I'm rooting for the Bills all day.
Okay.
The NFC's tougher. I guess some like bad teams like doing good would be fun. Like the Lions, seeing the Lions succeed would be okay. The Falcons, the Falcons fans, like just absolute misery since the 28-3 blowout. Feel bad for them. My best friend's a Chicago Bears fan, so I have a kind of a soft spot for the Bears as well. But those would be my order. I think the NFC is a lot tougher for me. You have a buddy who's a Falcons fan, don't you? A good friend?
Yeah. And Falcons are always Bills don't do anything for me. Like there's some teams you just watch and you just like you're secretly really hoping for them to do something good. Mm-hmm. And I think the Falcons probably out of misery, like just because they've been so bad and they've been so unfortunate. But they always had like players I really liked as well. They've always had like some really good characters and some fun players to watch. And
Bijan Robinson this year too.
Bijan is a massive addition.
Yeah.
And he like the way that Anthony Richardson makes the Colts watchable, and even though like they can be 1-10, you still want to watch the Colts because Anthony Richardson is the quarterback, and what is he going to do? That's kind of the same thing for me with Bijan Robinson. Like they can be so damn bad, and it wouldn't matter. And I just think they have like the additions with Jesse Bates on their defense. I think it's a really cool add to AJ Terrell, who, if we should be objective about it, probably is one of the best young cornerbacks in the league. And I know Sauce is getting all the hype, but I mean AJ just hasn't been getting that much hype because simply the Falcons defense was so bad last year.
They couldn't get after quarterback. The Falcons have less sacks in the last 3 years than the Eagles do last season. Like they have been the worst pass rush in the NFL by a mile the last 3 years.
And now they have Calais Campbell.
Yeah, who I love. Calais Campbell is one of my favorite like non-Eagles out there. I love
Grady Jarrett. David Onyemata is out there as well. But Dupree is out there. They have a pretty good line now. They have good DB group. And they have running backs to really get going there. So yeah, I mean, easy for me in NFC will be Falcons, definitely.
All righty. Were you with your friend when during the 28-3?
No, I wasn't.
No. God, I would not want to be with a Falcons fan that night.
Nope.
All right, that's it, Thomas. Next time we'll be after the Patriots game. We'll be breaking down week 1. Make sure to subscribe to the channel on the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to check out our sponsors. BetterHelp, new, fresh Manscaped is also a sponsor now, and Sweat Taylor. And we will talk to you later.